Welcome everyone to my YouTube channel. This is Coach Regina again. I am back for week 2, day 3 of my Mind Wellness channel. I am going to connect with you guys via live viewing. My camera may be a little grainy. I didn't feel like putting my portable camera up today. I felt the urge to just jump in and just get started with you guys. Today, I am going to be talking to you guys about stress. Yeah, that's a pretty small word with a big feeling. So, what is stress exactly? Stress is any type of change that your body goes through in order to adjust to everyday life. So whenever you find yourself feeling that uneasiness um, by something that you perceive is going to happen to you, this triggers stress levels. Ideally, the discussion today is, how do we handle stress? How have we adapted our minds to be able to cope with stress, whether it's normal stress from your everyday life, whether you have children that are young, you have children that are a little older in their teenage years, so they can become a little bit defiant, whether you have a marriage that may be a little on the rocks. It could be issues that you're dealing with your boss or something of that sort. Regardless of what it is, at the end of the day, stress happens. Life changes that we go through that help us to determine how grounded we really are in life. No one is immune to stress. Everyone is prone to having moments where things happen, things get you off balance, out of touch with reality, whatever the case may be. Sometimes in our environment, we tend to go through situations that are normal for us, but abnormal for the outside world. And what I mean by that is, when you're in an environment and you've been there for so long, you begin to desensitize yourself to your surroundings. So typically, when I say what's abnormal to the outside world, when people come into your immediate circle or your sphere of influence, and you're kind of brushing by your situation and things of that nature, people will tend to just kind of look at you like, oh wow, you know, but you're used to it. Again, you've desensitized yourself for being able to handle that level of stress. Life changes that shift your routine, that's another type of stress. That's a stress that gets you out of touch with your everyday norm. And whenever that happens, that can trigger something on the inside that can be uncommon. It's uncomfortable to deal with. When you have a normal routine and someone shifts you out of that routine, it's going to trigger stress. How do you handle it? How do you handle it? Stress does not have to be negative. It can be, just like I mentioned, it can be something that's a norm to keep you alert, to keep you on your toes. Stress only becomes difficult when we don't have the ability to manage it effectively. When we continuously undergo stress without taking time to relax, taking some downtime, taking a moment to analyze what's happening around us, we can often develop triggers. Triggers associated with stress can lead to anger, resentment, hostility, or feeling disassociated with what's going on around you. So being able to take an opportunity to just, again, examine what's happening, if it's a continuous stress, just continuously being placed on you by your situation, you'll start to feel certain symptoms of anxiety, muscle tension. If you notice here, I just kind of rub myself. That's how I calm down. If you ever see me doing that on my videos, it keeps me from being elevated in my anxiety level. This is something that's not normal for me, making videos every week. So I have things that I do to kind of calm myself, and that is one of them. Some people have come to say that they get upset stomach. I've heard someone say, "Man, I have a headache," and things of that level. Those are areas within within your life that are triggering you to realize that something is wrong, whether it's normal or abnormal. It's your body telling you that something's wrong. Overthinking and worrying too much. I said in my last video, it can trigger anxiety. So when that cortisol level raises in your body, that's stress telling you it's time to do something. How do you handle it? I would love to hear your feedback. I would love to hear your comments to know how you handle stress. How I handle stress is, for the most part, I take a moment to kind of analyze what's happening. Now, when I say analyze, I don't mean overthinking, because that's a problematic situation. It leads to more stress. So if you find yourself in a situation and let's say, your job just called and your job says, "I'm sorry, we don't need you anymore." That's something that is uncommon. How do you handle it? So when I mention if I've been fired from a job before, I can honestly say stress. I get stressed out. I start to feel like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Especially if I purchased a car and I have to pay a car note, or if I have an apartment or place, it can lead to a little bit of frustration there. I start to grind my teeth. I start to feel tension in my body, in my muscles. I start to lash out at people that are close to me. These people may have not done anything to me. At times, that's how I dealt with stress in my life. As I'm learning to practice mind wellness techniques, I mentioned to you, I have prayer time, I have affirmations that I say, I have mantras. Now I'm learning to become more calmer when I have a stressful situation. Analyze what's happening. What is the universe saying to me? Is this something that is a decrease in my life, or is it an increase? Increases and decreases happen to mature us, to get us to a place of maturity in our lives. It's not always negativity. Some of this happens for the positive. Let's say you've been asking for something. I mentioned about losing your job. Let's say you've been asking to become an entrepreneur. It's something you've had in your heart. You've wanted to do it for quite some time. Your boss calls you and tells you after umpteen years that they don't need you anymore. It's going to trigger stress. It's going to trigger a sense of unworthiness. It's going to trigger um, overthinking. It's going to trigger ruminating thoughts, whatever the case may be. But what if that situation was actually meant to be positive? When you're stressed out, you're not going to see that. We don't think clearly when we're in a state of stress. Learning to calm down and focus and understand what's happening around me, breathe, try to see the positivity in the situation. You may even take an opportunity to call your boss back and ask them, is there anything that I can do to kind of, fix the situation? Is there something that I need to do? Have I been showing up for work late? Have I been not being as productive as I could be? Whatever the case may be, when you are experiencing a situation that is without your control, once you've done what you know to do, once you're at a place where you're thinking clearly, you can ask yourself some very good questions to help you analyze what's happening. Once you've experienced the things that you now notice that are out of your control, begin to deal with what you can control. Making a phone call, right? Determine if it's something you can do. Take a moment to do some research on how to become an entrepreneur. And I know you may say, okay, but Coach Regina, I just lost my job. How am I going to pay my bills? that's another situation, because at the end of the day, we're not supposed to be living from paycheck to paycheck. That's unwanted stress. We'll get into that in another video. Today, I just want people to understand that when we overthink our situation, that too leads to stress. Procrastinating and then situations coming up on us expediently and we're not able to handle it, we'll feel like the stress is uncommon, but in reality, it's a common stressor. It's something that you knew you were supposed to do, yet you put it off and didn't deal with it. You didn't prioritize your situation in your life, and therefore you didn't follow through. When this happens, take responsibility. That's another big factor. When stress happens, take responsibility for the issue and the part that you played in the issue. Examine the area that is within your control and that is without out of your control. Anxiety, stress, triggers, these are things that are in your body that is telling you that it may or may not be an emergency. You need to take some downtime. You need to examine your priorities, and you need to determine where you are in your mind wellness. I want to thank you guys for watching. My name is Coach Regina. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'll be giving you guys some hard truths, hard facts, and again, it's going to be short and cut and to the point. Thank you guys for tuning in. Take care.